Hi there, my name is Greg Stopka. I'm the Membership Director with the Alliance for Innovation, and we are lucky today to have an interview with Aly Van Dyke, the Media Relations Director from Topeka, Kansas. And Aly was one of the leaders around this idea called TweetaLongs, which is one of our top ideas that we've seen adapted across the country this year. And it also was one of our best TLG, our Transforming Local Government Conference, case studies this year. And so the Alliance, for the first time ever, is going to try to have a embedded recording along with the article that we had Aly write for us. And so we're lucky to have her on today. Hi, Aly.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being on.
Yeah,
So let me ask the question I think that's on everybody's mind. What the heck is a tweet-along?
sure. So the way I describe it is I think most people are familiar with ride-alongs that you do with police officers. So the tweet-along kind of takes that a couple steps further. It involves a ride-along. You just tweet about it. And it's not just limited to police officers. So there are a lot of hardworking individuals who work for cities and municipalities across our country. And I think it's time we should highlight their work as well. So tweet-alongs are right along with any other city employee, from call centers to forestry workers.
Awesome. What's been the reaction from the community with that?
It's been really fun. So one of my favorite stories, and if you were at TLG, you probably heard it, so sorry, but it's a great story. We did a tweet-along with the horticulturalist at the zoo. So yeah, he goes to the zoo to see the plants. But this guy's whole job, and he lives and breathes it. He loves it. And so, we're doing the tweet along. People are engaging like they usually do, throwing out questions and requests. And we got a request in for him to take a selfie with a sloth. Well, sloths are really hard to find, I guess. So we ended up having him take a selfie in front of his favorite plant. And it was the first selfie he'd ever taken, so I kind of had to walk him through that process. We posted it, got a lot of likes. But the cool thing was a couple of days later, someone who follows us on Twitter was at the zoo, recognized the horticulturalist from the tweet-along and took a selfie with him and posted it on Twitter. So his second selfie of all time, but that was pretty cool. And then other than that, I mean, it's generated a lot of questions from citizens who either don't know that the city performs that service or don't really understand what it all entails. So another one that was really engaging was when we did a tweet along with the call center at the water distribution plant. So they take all of the customer complaints. So if there's a pothole or weeds, they make that request, and they also are the ones that have to call people or answer the phones when their water is turned off. So they have a really challenging, difficult job. And the tweet along had just a bunch of questions from people who were following about, what's the weirdest request you received, or how do you get back on the phone after someone's been yelling at you for 20 minutes. So I think it helps, that two-way interaction helps people not only get to know the people providing the service that they've never really thought of, but it gives the employees a chance to kind of, brag about the work they do and how hard they work.
So that comment there about breaking down that wall between the employees and the citizens is something that some civic leaders are, we'll say, a little reluctant to do.
Right.
So sometimes I hear that in my conversations around this idea. What would you say to them to encourage them about this is still something that they should be doing?
So first, it's a totally understandable fear. It's definitely taking people out of their comfort zone. And I've worked with employees who weren't really comfortable with it at first either. But once you get in the tweet along and you're talking about a job that you love, that you've done, that with people who really haven't paid attention before, it's really cool to see the employees come alive in that way. But the two things I would say to people who are kind of nervous about it is, first, trust. Trust your people. You've hired good people and they know what they're doing. So talking about it's not going to be difficult for them. And then second, the person who's doing the tweet along is likely going to be your public relations or communication specialist. So they're there to kind of filter out the cuss words, the colorful language that some employees have. So as long as your communications person goes in knowing that, it's really hard to mess up. It's a really cool experience for everybody.
No, that's really good advice. And you mentioned our national conference earlier, Transforming Local Government, or TLG. So you were able to present there. Can you describe how your session went since you were presenting there?
Sure, yeah, it was really fun. So what I guess attracted me to the TLG conference was the interactive part of it. I mean, that's what makes TweetaLong so great. So the thought of making a presentation interactive just seemed to fit. So I was really honored when you guys let me give it a shot up there this year. But I thought the presentation went really well. You know, we kind of went through um, briefly kind of talked about what a tweet along was and then let them dive right in. And I asked them to do a live tweet of my presentation. And we showed them clips from different tweet alongs we've gone on so they could actually, you know, they're not just tweeting what I'm saying, they're tweeting what they're watching and the experiences that we've actually gone through on the tweet alongs here. So it was pretty fun. At the end of it, there were some really cool prizes at TLG, and I'm not making the case that Topeka's is one of them. But it was pretty fun. We handed out potatoes. um, Topeka means a good place to grow potatoes, so we thought it would be kind of a fun
Okay. I
little,
thought it was like Idaho,
little
but it
thing
makes
to give.
sense.
Right? No, we've been doing a bunch of research on that since, and it's been kind of fascinating. But yeah, so yeah, we gave out potatoes. I'm not trying to compare that to the other prizes that were given out, but it was a very distinct honor.
No, that will stand out for sure.
Right.
What were your other favorite parts of TLG?
So yeah, there were a few ideas that I came back and immediately started pitching here in the city. One of them was the city of Austin does this neighborhood station partnership where the neighborhood determines what they want done and there's a cost share in getting it done. And it's not necessarily dollars, you know, they've used this calculator to value volunteer hours. And if, you know, the neighborhood gets out there and, you know, digs up a garden or you know volunteers their time that works toward the cost of the project. And I thought that idea just to get neighborhoods engaged in what they want done in their neighborhood to improve it rather than you know us trying to guess what they need or what they want was really innovative. And I'm happy to say we have some money in the budget next year for some neighborhood programs, and we're hoping to expand it later so that we can do even more for our neighborhoods off of something from TLG. So.
Very cool. Were you able to connect with, I believe, Justin at Austin?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Yeah, he was very eloquent in and how he speaks. I don't know if you guys have him on any other programs, but you should. He's great.
Yeah, I think we've tapped into that idea quite a bit too through webinars and
Yeah.
articles. No, that's great
Yeah.
because TLG, I think a big part of it is the network of entrepreneurs and local government coming together, not just the ideas that are there, but the people behind them. So that's great.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so we did another experiment this year. We held 8 regional civic innovation labs around
Mm-hmm.
citizen engagement, where we took all of the top ideas from TLG and other sources that we have. And I'm excited to say TweetaLongs was the most popular idea adapted of all of them. So what I mean by
Yay.
that is when we asked the audience, you know, what idea are you going to adapt and take back with you? TweetaLongs was the one that was always on the top 3 or top list of everybody.
Great.
So why do you think that idea resonated so much with people, not just in the Midwest or Topeka, but all over the country?
Well, I think it's the audience that's there for TLG. So these are innovators, these are forward thinkers, these are people who get social media. It's one of the battles, you know, you face in every community is social media and Twitter. You know, why is it important? What are we doing? Why do we use it? But the TLG group has already bought into that. So using social media to engage the public, I think, is something that they already appreciate. That's the first part of it. And then, I mean, second, how cool is it to try to introduce the employees that you know work so hard every day to serve your community, and the public that they're serving don't know it. So I think the TweetaLongs can, you know, the way that they connect employees, city employees, with the city residents is an innovative and easily appreciated, I guess, concept. And then finally, it's free. it's not it's not really resource heavy. I try to do one every week, and between the pre-interview, the tweet-along itself, and the blog post I write after, it's maybe 4 hours out of a whole work week, so it's pretty resource light.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And for those people that were really interested in adapting it, for whatever reason, what lessons would you give them, or what would you suggest to them in their attempts to adapt this idea?
I think the biggest piece is the blog. I mean, the tweets are great. You get a lot of interaction right there, but they're usually during the day. Not everybody can check social media during the day, so it's really important to write that blog. And you don't have to write anything. If you use Storify, you can just pull your tweets right over and post it. It's so easy. Um, but if you get that blog piece, then you can share it across your other social media platforms, and it gets even more eyes to the work that you've done, and more importantly, the work that the employees are doing. And then second, I would say make sure you get photos and video. The quotes are great and they can be fun, but you really want to get people in action so you can show people who are following what the job entails. And then third, be very strategic in the hashtag you use. So we use hashtag Topeka TweetaLong, which is just way too many characters. I wish we could have changed that. So try to lessen the number of characters in your hashtag so you can get more of that content out.
Okay, excellent. And for those that are interested, how can they get a hold of you and ask you questions or follow up on this?
Sure. Well, I run the city's Twitter handle, so if you want to go that way, it's at City of Topeka. Other than that, email is really easy. It's A Van Dyke, so AVANDYKE at topeka.org.
Excellent. Is there anything else you want to add before we close?
Good luck to anyone who tries it. I can't wait. I mean, let me know if you're doing it, and we'll give you a follow and try to help out, get some hits on stuff. So I'm excited to see what happens.
All right, great. Well, thanks for doing this experiment with us and being our first
Yeah.
embedded recording in our article, and hopefully it's the first
Yeah.
of many. But thanks,
Yeah,
Aly,
it's
for
a
being
great
on
idea.
with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.